Hey there guys, back for another video. This one's going to be a little different, but I think it's going to be quite fun. We're going to be ranking the DC original animated movies, and basically this is a specific film line starting from Superman Doomsday going all the way to Justice League versus the Fatal Five, which is the most recent one that's come out at the time of this recording. So it's going to be those films in that specific category, so things like movies that are based on animated series or movies that just exist outside of this, that are not a part of that line, are not going to be ranked in this, okay? So I just want to make that clear. If I did, I might throw that opinion in later, but for now, we're just going to stick specifically to that film line of DC. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Alright guys, so first things first, we have Green Lantern First Flight. And Green Lantern First Flight was a fun movie. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it was good. It wasn't bad or anything like that. So I'm going to throw that movie in the B tier. So next we have Green Lantern Emerald Knights, or Emerald Knight. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see since the print's so small in this. But this film was technically a follow-up to First Flight, but it wasn't really... It was kind of just okay. You know, I'm leaning on C tier for this one just because... It didn't really do anything for me, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, C tier. It was okay. It had some good stories. It had some stories that... I mean, overall, even though the stories were nice, they don't really... They're just not as good as, like, just a complete story from a film. So, yeah, C tier for that. Alright, so next we have All-Star Superman. And All-Star Superman is basically the quintessential Superman story. Of all of these Superman movies that have been made, this is probably my favorite one. I'm kind of thinking, I mean, it did have a pretty good story. It had some pretty good, like, scenes and stuff like that. I will be generous. I will put this in the A tier. Yeah, I'll put that in the A tier. I just also want to say real quick that none of these films are in a particular order. So when I throw them up there, I'm not saying, you know, if I put, I don't know, the Red Hood behind Green Lantern, it's not saying Green Lantern's better. It's just they're all in the same tier. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there right now. All right, so Death of Superman is actually one of the ones I have not seen. I've heard it's really good. I don't want to give an honorary sort of thing and just throw it up there. So there are a few I haven't seen. I mean, this is a pretty... you know, there's a lot of DC films. So looking down here, like I said, I'm not reviewing any of these here. Let's see. I did not also see the other Superman film, and I have not seen Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, and I've not seen the Justice League versus the Fatal Five. So I haven't seen, yeah. So of those films, I'm just not going to rank them. They're just going to be thrown in there. So that's really all the attention I'm going to give to them. I've heard that they're pretty good, but, you know. Oh, and also Superman Unbound, wherever that is on here. I have not seen that as well. So just, oh yeah, it's right here. So yeah, those films, they're not going to get ranked. Just so you guys know, I just haven't seen them. So now we have Superman Doomsday. And Superman Doomsday, okay, so it's been a while. I haven't just recently rewatched all these films, and that's kind of important to take away too. This is largely based on my memory of them. So Superman Doomsday... It was okay. I think that the fight with Superman and Doomsday was really awesome, and if that was the big, like, you know, big focus of the film, like, sure, I would probably give it, like, a B, but I'm going to throw it in C, just because outside the fight, the film, I just don't remember liking it very much. It just seemed kind of eh. So, I mean, DC must have felt the same way because they've remade it into 2 animated films, so... Yeah, it's one of the ones that, it was the first one, so, I mean, it makes sense that one doesn't hold up as well as the other ones anyway. But, you know, just one of those ones that didn't really do a lot for me. Alright, so Superman versus the Elite. Superman versus the Elite starts off kind of interesting, like, okay, this is going to be a decent film. And then by the end, you're like, whoa, I did not see that film going this direction. This is based on my perspective, of course, from someone who has not read a majority of the comics that these films are based on, so obviously it's like I don't have any sort of specific insight into this. But anyway, with that said, I'm gonna give it the B tier. I mean, it was really cool to see Superman like seemingly just go crazy and like start, wiping people out, but then it turned out, oh, not really. I thought that was really cool, and it just showed Superman just kind of in a different light, a different kind of story, so I liked it. All right, so the next film, Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. I'm just gonna say this right now. You're gonna see a lot of the newer films rank lower than a lot of the older films, and that's just because really they're just better made. I mean, there's really no way to get around saying it. I'm not trying to insult the people who work on the films. I know they put a lot of work into it, but I mean, just the motto of DC, I totally understand why Bruce Timm stepped down, just because he didn't want to factory line all of these classic DC stories or more modern DC stories or whatever. He just didn't want to pump them out to make more money. And that's kind of the direction that they put the film line in. So I don't really necessarily think that's the fault of some of the people working on it, but it's just a money thing. But just kind of throwing that out there because you're going to see that trend. But this film is actually pretty good. I mean, sorry if you thought I was putting it in the D. I'm actually putting it in the B tier. A lot of good character development. To me, I don't know. I really like this film, and what they did with Nightwing and Starfire was pretty cool. Deathstroke being like the main villain. It still had some issues. I think it actually could have almost been an A tier film if it just didn't have some of the problems it had with some of the animation, just some story elements here or there. If it had been a little bit better, I maybe could have put it in the A, but B. It's fine. It's good. Good entertainment. All right, so next on the list is Justice League War, and Justice League War was just very average. I'm just going to be honest with you. It was the first one in the New 52 line, and it just wasn't very good. I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, I actually liked the comic this is based on. I know some people were critiquing it back when it first came out, but I actually did like the Jeff Johns Justice League run overall. I thought it was pretty good. And I liked this specific story. Like, I thought that was an awesome story that they told for the origin of Justice League. I liked it, but Justice League War, nah. The film was very average. And the New 52 line as a whole, like, I don't know why they felt the need to really make an animated film verse of it, because at the time they knew they were having problems with the brand. I don't really know what the logic behind it was, and the fact that they're still doing it now, it baffles me. But making movies based on the stories is fine, but still living in that universe, So I'm actually going to leave that one the C tier. Just very average, very average. All right, so next we have Justice League Dark, and I'm just going to be completely honest with you. This film sucks. I know people really like the Justice League Dark. I guess it is more niche. So it is cool that team got sort of a story, but honestly, this film's an F. It's really bad. It's one of the worst DC animated films I've ever seen. I just overall do not like this film one bit. It just did nothing for me. I was very bored and just wanted it to be over. Didn't like it at all. Don't really much care for, I guess, I don't know. I didn't like it. So F tier. All right, so now we're going to be talking about Justice League Throne of Atlantis. And this film is also getting the F tier treatment. This film is really bad. When the comic came out, actually a lot of people really liked the Throne of Atlantis story. I never really got into it because I was never a huge Aquaman fan. I always thought, he's okay. But I gotta be honest. It just was a really bad movie. Poorly animated. The action just wasn't great. Like, none of it was great. It was just a mess. It was a big mess. So this film, another one of easily the worst DC animated films. We had to do two negative ones back to back. I'm sure most people agree with me on Throne of Atlantis. I know Justice League Dark. Some people are probably going to fight me on that one, but I mean, honestly, it's just kind of how it is. So, So now we're going to be talking about this one. So this is I think this is the first film that Bruce Timm made after he made a comeback, I guess, like making his own sort of thing. So this film, it was actually pretty interesting. It was different. I would prefer characters that were in our own universe as opposed to Outworld universes. Like that, if we're comparing it to other Outworld universes, this one's not as intriguing to me. But still, it was fine. So I'll give it a B. I don't really think it was as good as maybe some of the other ones in the B tier, but maybe like a B minus kind of movie. It's good. It's not great. It's just good. Okay, so Justice League versus Teen Titans. So this is another one that some people do seem to like, and I gotta be honest, I don't. I just don't like this movie. I actually made a video review of it a long time ago. It's been a while since I've seen it, but based on my memory of it, D tier. It's just not very good. It has some things about it that are fine, but I guess if you look at it in hindsight with Justice League: The Judas Contract, maybe it holds up better. But to me, it just wasn't all that. All right, so next we got Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, and this was actually a really good movie. This is the first film that was not directed by Bruce Timm, or he wasn't the executive producer, whatever he was. I forget his title, but this film. Okay, so the art style and the animation. Well, I guess not the animation so much as the art style, but good lord, some of the character designs were just horrendous on this movie. But outside of that, this film was awesome. This was a really good movie. So I'm actually going to put this one in the A tier. You know, you can overlook some of the art. Mainly it's in the beginning of the film. So when they have just the normal Justice League, yeah, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, like they'd look terrible. But, you know, when you actually get into the Flashpoint sort of world, everything looks fine for the most part. So, you know, A tier. Good movie. All right, so next we have Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. And this one's a B. It was good. It was fine. Some of the voices were very weird. I know Batman's in particular was just like a very strange choice, but outside some of the voices, it was a good story. It was fine. So, yeah, B tier. Okay, so this film, I'm going to get some hate and some backlash on this one. And I totally understand why, but man, oh man, this film, I just don't like it. I know it's based on a comic that it's like a classic and it's based on this time period and all this, but look, I'm just going to throw it in D tier. I know that more love and work was put into it than something like Justice League War, and I totally get that. Like, if you're really into that old school style of DC animated film, like, sure. You know, I understand you liking it, but good God, this film just did nothing for me. I was very bored the whole way through. And the only thing that I liked about this film was the scene with the Flash. Whatever his initial entrance was, I think he was fighting Captain Cold or something like that. Outside that, nah, I didn't like the movie. So that one's a D. I know it's another one that people are probably going to fight me on, but honestly, it could go in the F tier if I'm being honest, but I'll be nice. And since there was some love and effort put into it, I'll put it in D tier. Okay, so now we have Justice League Doom. And it was actually pretty good. I'm going to give it B tier. Good story, good animation, good voice acting, and all that, which is typical for a lot of the good DC films. It was good. It was probably one of the better Justice League films. So yeah, B tier for that one. Batman Superman Apocalypse. This one's actually kind of tricky for me. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to put this in the A tier. So the reason why, as a Batman film, which, I mean, it's a crossover film, but the Batman portion of this film is not as good because Batman really doesn't have a lot to do when you're fighting someone like Darkseid. But at the same time, the Superman and Supergirl story is so good in this film, and the fight with Darkseid and all that, like, this is a really good film. I just wish that Batman had a little bit more to do and was a little bit more relevant in the movie, because to me, it just doesn't feel like he had as much to do in this film. But anyway, good film, definitely. Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. Okay, Wonder Woman. This is easily an A tier. This is one of the best DC animated films. It's just really well made. It's a really great Wonder Woman story. It's unfortunate that this is the only Wonder Woman film that was ever made because it was just really well done. And, you know, more people definitely need to see it. It's worth seeing, and it's really good. So, yeah, A tier for that film. Okay, so I put 3 films up here, and we're going to talk about all 3 of them together. So, we're going to be talking about Son of Batman, Batman vs. Robin, and Batman Bad Blood all at the same time. And the reason why is because all 3 of these films are part of, like, a trilogy. So it wouldn't really make sense for me to rank one without the others because it would be kind of weird. So anyway, Son of Batman, I'm actually going to leave in the C tier. And the reason why is because overall it was just super average. In fact, it had some things in it that kind of made me scratch my head. Like, it started the whole trend of Damian is stronger than pretty much everybody in the DC universe, which is ridiculous. He beat Deathstroke, which, no, I'm sorry, but no, that is just dumb. So, Damian beats everybody because Damian, he's annoying. And yeah, I just can't say I was a big fan of this film, so it's in the C. Batman versus Robin. I would give this film, I'm going to leave it in C, but it would maybe be a C+. It was better than Batman, or better than Son of Batman, but not by much. And it did have that really cool fight scene between Nightwing and Robin, where Nightwing did all those really cool tricks and all that. Like, that was definitely the best part of the film. But it had a lot of stupid Damian stuff in it, like the last one did. So, you know, it kind of holds itself back. And then Batman Bad Blood, I will give a B. This would be like a B minus. So, you know, like, I know that you can't really do that on this kind of tier list thing, but if I had to, I'd probably give this a B minus. It's the best of the new 52 Batman trilogy, but it's still not. It's not exceptionally good, but it is good. I mean, I would definitely say it's the best one of the trilogy. I know K Nightwing specifically did not like this movie, but you know, honestly, it was fine. I enjoyed it, so yeah, I'll give that one the B tier. Batman v Superman: Public Enemies. This is a film that when I first saw it, and you know, it's been a long time since these started. I mean, Superman Doomsday started in 2006, so it's been a long time. This, it was actually one of my favorites. I really liked this movie, but going back, when I watched it somewhat recently, and well, you know, it's been probably a few years, but actually Apocalypse stands out more to me. And this film, while it's cool to see Batman and Superman just dominate everything in this movie, its story is not as strong, so I will give it a B. It was a good film. It had really cool animation, and I like the art direction and all that, but it's a B. It's fine. You know, I'm not insulting the B tier. I mean, it's a good tier, but I still would not, I wouldn't put it in the A tier. So yeah, B. Just solid B. Okay, Batman and Harley Quinn. This is easily an S tier. The animation's great. The story is great. The characters are great. I mean, just everything about this film is absolutely brilliant, and I'm being completely sarcastic. This film is easily an F tier. My God, it sucks. This might be actually the worst DC animated film. I don't know, because, like, it has a really good art style and animation, but everything outside that just sucks, man. Like, the jokes they made and just, oh, it's so bad and so cringy. I don't know why. This could have been actually a really good film, but it just sucks. So, yeah, that's a bad film. And it's one of the ones that I wish I hadn't seen, honestly. I could have lived my whole life without seeing this movie. So, it's bad. It's real bad. Batman Assault on Arkham. This film, this one's kind of tough. I think it's decent. You know what? I'll put it up here. And that's one of those ones that I honestly probably could change out. But, I'll leave it in B minus. A lot of people really liked it. I think the animation and the art was fine. The disappointing thing about it was that Batman really didn't have much to do, but it was kind of like more of a Suicide Squad film, and it was like a heist kind of thing, and it was cool. So I'll throw it in there. Probably give it like a B minus, but yeah. Okay, Batman: The Killing Joke. So this film, oh my goodness, this film is pretty hated by a lot of people because of the first half of the film. And honestly, I'm going to give it a B. So here's the thing. When I watched this film, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty solid. I do think that the art, well, not necessarily, I guess, the art style, but the animation is a little underwhelming. It's not bad, but it's just kind of like, it could have looked a little better than it did. But, outside of that, the Barbara Gordon stuff doesn't really bother me as much as other people. I understand why it does, because she should be with Nightwing and not Batman, but it just, it didn't bother me as much. In this universe, I don't really know. I mean, it'd be weird if Batman knew her since she was like a little girl or whatever, but in this film verse, we don't know how long he's known her. So, to me, it doesn't bother me as much. But I get it. I get why it bothers people, but it's a B for me. It's a B. Okay, so Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. I guess so. They combine both of them, which is fine. I would actually probably rate them both at an A tier and almost an S tier, honestly. I mean, these are like solid movies, especially if you put them together. Like it's a really great comic, and they really did a lot with this film that was just awesome. I wouldn't put it in. I mean, it's almost there. I would probably almost give it like an A plus. I mean, they're pretty good. Maybe an A plus, somewhere in there. I wouldn't throw them in S tier, but I mean, man, they are they're solid. They're pretty solid. So Batman Year One, I am going to go out and say S for this one. So Batman Year One to me is just a super solid film. Has great animation, great, typical everything you'd expect from a good DC film. To me, the story just really hits me. I don't know why. Batman is my favorite character, so I should just go ahead and say that. But man, honestly, this film is it's so good. It's just so good. So good. And it actually does feel kind of weird putting this above. The Dark Knight Returns, I could almost put that in S. I'm kind of debating it. I'm kind of debating moving Justice League Doom up into A. I'm kind of wavering a little bit on some of these, but I'm kind of looking at my own tier list. I'm like, am I really doing this right now? But you know what? Batman Year One, it's such a solid film. It's easily one of the best DC original animated films. So definitely. Okay, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. This film is, I'm gonna give it a B. It's good. It's just not stellar. It's just kind of like Like it's not. Oh, it's above average, but it's not much higher than average. So I just give it a B. It's fine. It's good. It's just not great. Batman Gotham Knight. I am going to give this a D. So this film could actually go an F for me. I do not like this film. This is easily one of my least favorite, but the reason why I'm giving it a D tier is because there were 2 episodes, so it was like a 6-episode sort of thing. And of the 6 episodes, there were 2 I liked. So I would give that like a D because I did like the Deadshot episode, and I did like the Croc and Scarecrow episode. I thought those 2 were fine. I think everything else was bad. I didn't like it. So D tier for me. So this is the last film, it looks like anyway, on this list. Batman Under the Red Hood was such a solid film that it introduced me to a character that is now one of my favorites in Batman, and which is Jason Todd. Animation and story and everything about this movie is just so solid. It's such a good storyline. I am going to throw this in S tier. It is just so good. It's a great film. It really is. Maybe it's the Batman fanboy in me, but man, when this came out, it just rocked me. I mean, I was even looking back on this when it first came out. I think I was thinking to myself, is this better than my favorite DC animated film? Which, I'll say this right now. My favorite DC animated film, I think I've said this on the channel before, but it's actually Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. That film, to me, is just perfect. It's so good. That would be like an S plus tier. That would be above Year One and Under the Red Hood. And again, I'm kind of wavering on this. I really want to throw it up an S, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to just leave it alone. So this is my tier list. Obviously, everyone's going to have a different opinion, but being a pretty big DC fan, and being that DC is my favorite comic book company or whatever, I thought, it'd be fun, make a tier list and see what you guys think about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know how long this is going to end up being. It might be a while. I'm going to have to try and edit some of this down. But hope you guys enjoyed it. That's all I had for now. I will catch you guys later.